Plato stands as one of those rare figures in history whose presence feels less like a person and more like a turning point. His ideas didn't simply survive the ancient world, they became the bedrock on which Western thought was built. Born in 428 BC into an aristocratic Athenian family, he entered life with the name Aristocles. Plato, meaning broad, was a nickname earned not for the depth of his mind, but for the breadth of his shoulders. He grew up in an environment steeped in privilege. Music, mathematics, poetry, painting, philosophy, grammar, athletics. Plato devoured it all. Cratylus, a follower of Heraclitus, taught him to see the hidden currents beneath the surface of things, to search for meaning in change, in words, in the fragile logic of human behavior. Some say Plato even wrestled at the Olympic Games, as strong in body as he was in intellect. But Athens in those years was a city licking its wounds. The Peloponnesian War had left it fractured and exhausted. His family imagined a political career for him, a path toward restoring the city's dignity. Plato, however, felt drawn elsewhere. He turned to poetry and drama, believing the stage might be his destiny. And then one afternoon, everything changed. In a crowded street, he came upon an older man speaking to a small circle of listeners, a barefoot figure, plain and unremarkable at first glance, yet radiating an unmistakable weight. Socrates. The moment Plato heard him speak, the ground beneath his life shifted. The world he thought he understood suddenly felt thin, almost trivial. Socrates' stubborn hunt for truth, his fearless questioning, the way he challenged the very bones of society, Plato was enthralled. Socrates left no written work of his own, but Plato became the voice through which his teacher would echo across the centuries. As Cicero later wrote, Socrates brought philosophy down from the heavens to the earth, but their time together was short. Barely 5 years after they met, Socrates was condemned to death for corrupting the youth and dishonoring the gods. His calm acceptance of the sentence shook Plato to its core. Disgusted with Athenian politics and heartbroken by the injustice, Plato left the city behind. He wandered through Egypt, Italy, and Sicily, gathering new ideas, new sciences, new ways of thinking, each journey adding another layer to the vast architecture of his mind. When he finally returned, he built something the world had never seen before, the Academy. It wasn't simply a school, it was the beating heart of Greek intellectual life, often called the first university in human history. Within its walls, Plato wrote the dialogues that would shape civilization: the Republic, Symposium, Phaedo, Gorgias, Timaeus, and countless others. Among his students sat a young man named Aristotle, destined to become a titan in his own right. At the center of Plato's thought burned one belief inherited from Socrates: knowledge and virtue cannot be separated. To know the good is to seek it. But Plato took the idea further, deep into the territory of metaphysics. The world we see, he argued, is only an imitation, a dim reflection of a higher, untouched, eternal reality. No perfect circle can ever be drawn by hand. Every circle in our world is only an echo of the true form of a circle. To show this, he gave us one of philosophy's most enduring images, the allegory of the cave. Humanity sits chained in the dark, mistaking shadows for truth. Only those who escape the cave, who walk toward the searing brightness of reality, see the world as it truly is. And when they return to the darkness to tell others, they are met with disbelief, sometimes even violence. For Plato, this wasn't just a story, it was a warning. Ignorance comforts us. truth burns. Plato believed the soul is immortal, eternal, indestructible, housed within the body like a traveler lodged in a temporary shelter. In Phaedo, he describes life and death as a cycle, each giving rise to the other, the way day follows night. He saw the soul as divided into three parts: reason, spirit, and appetite. Harmony between these parts creates justice, and his vision of the ideal state mirrored this structure. Philosopher kings to rule, guardians to defend, producers to sustain. It wasn't just a political model, it was a portrait of the well-ordered soul. At the summit of his metaphysics stands the form of the good, the source of all truth, beauty, and being. And above the creation of the universe, he imagined a divine craftsman, the demiurge, shaping the world by looking to the forms as his eternal blueprint. Plato spent his final years teaching and writing at the academy. Tradition says he died peacefully, surrounded by his students, his mind still chasing some distant question. And in a sense, he never died at all. His belief in the soul's immortality found its echo in the fate of his own ideas. His body vanished, but his thought, sharp, luminous, inexhaustible, continues to shape the minds of a